Hi, I'm Almighty Argus.
Hey, I'm Crony Gamer.
I'm OutlawMyke.
I'm Crispy Dad.
I'm Julio_GX.
Hi, I'm Spaced.
It's Mark to the Future.
Hello, I'm Wekizz.
Hi, I'm Cagematic, and I'm a parent of Twitch. We're all.
Parent of Twitch.
All right, everybody. How is everybody today? I hope all of you people out there, great parents, are awesome, and I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. And welcome. Well,
Listen, even if you're not having a great Saturday, if someone asks you how you're doing, just say you're doing great because it'll make you feel great.
That's right. Lie to
no
people.
matter what.
Just lie. Straight up lie.
Just lying to people makes you feel great. Hey, I'm great.
All right, so we've got a special guest here today. I'm sure you guys know him. So, you know, I mean, it's not like he's like nobody knows who he is, but, you know, Dotslashdrago. He's one of our parents of Twitch, and he's our first guest on the old POT podcast. And I'm sure everyone knows me. I'm Cagematic, and hello. And then we have below me, down here, we have OutlawMyke.
Right here.
And then over here in this little corner, we have the stream wizard, Wekizz. Say hello, Wekizz. That's it.
Hello.
So we're
I
here.
expected him to say hello, Wekizz.
Yes, hello, Wekizz.
Hello, Wekizz.
And so, yeah, we're here to talk to Dotslashdrago about Linux and maybe some other surprise topics. Who knows? You know what I mean? So we hope you guys enjoy it. This is kind of our first official episode. And don't mind the background behind me and everything, you know. Me and my wife are like redoing this room and everything, so it's a little crazy.
Dude, it's Star Wars. Anyone who minds that, that's
Dude,
no,
for real.
No.
Like the first time I saw I didn't realize it was like a whatever it is. I thought it was just a Star Wars backdrop. I was like, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's literally a bunk bed, and I hung up hung up some posters that my brother-in-law gave me. So, yeah, and you have to see, you know, I got the little R2-D2 up there too. If you hadn't noticed that. Anyways, all right. I guess let's get to it. I have some questions for Drago that I've written down, and whenever you're ready,
written down.
You can begin. So, Drago, tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, and who you are, you know.
So I'm Dragostini. Everybody just calls me Drago. It's easier that way. I am 31. I'm from Canada, and I'm a parent of two little girls. Well, not really little. I mean, one's 12, one's 11. So, you know, 12-year-old lives with me. 11-year-old does not. Got a great girlfriend, and I am a Linux streamer. So I don't always use Linux. I will say, and just a fair disclaimer, that if you ever see my stream and I'm in virtual reality, I'm in Windows. That's just because the Oculus Rift S does not support Linux. So Facebook, if you're watching this, you suck.
Do you think people will come out with mods, any kind of mods? Because I know Linux users, a lot of the guys who use Linux, they're very crafty with, you know, creating different kind of mods and applications. Do you ever think anybody will come out with a mod to use it?
Yeah, so there already is some stuff in development right now.
It's a little janky,
but janky's putting it really nicely. It's a really hard job. It's a really big task.
Yeah.
So the Oculus Rift CV1, the first Rift that came out, is a little bit more compatible, but it's still not quite there yet. And then the Rift S, since it's the newest piece of Oculus PC VR technology, is further behind. I think right now you can put your headset on and you can kind of look around and everything will look really weird, but you'll be able to see something at least.
Gotcha.
But I mean, you can't use your hands, you can't play games. Like we're nowhere near at that level yet. If you want to use Linux and play VR, you need to be using either the HTC Vive series of headsets or the Valve Index. The Valve Index is completely supported by Valve with Linux, and they have claimed that they will continue to support Linux on that. So, but I don't have 1,300 Canadian dollars to spend on a new headset right now when I've already got a Rift S kicking around.
Holy moly, that's expensive.
Yeah,
that's expensive.
That's the Index. So,
Wekizz, do you have a question? OutlawMyke, you guys have any questions, by the way?
So, what made you want to stream to start with?
okay, so I've been a gamer since DOS. Like, I learned how to use computers before most people had mice. I still remember all the cheat codes. Like I remember God mode and the all weapons and ammo code for the original Doom on floppy disks.
Nice.
I remember playing Duke 3D, Duke Nukem 3D, the shareware version. Okay, so I've been playing video games a long time, and one thing I've always enjoyed is watching people, playing video games and having people watch and socialize and being able to talk about what's happening and being like, yo, did you guys see that? That was so cool. Or like, yo, check out this awesome move I'm about to do, or whatever, right? Even just casual conversation. And then at the same time, being able to hang out with people that are of like mind, similar interests, similar sense of humor, whatever, right? Like just to be able to nerd out with the community. So Twitch kind of brings that all together into one world. I can play video games, I can socialize, I can hang out, I can meet like-minded people, I can teach people things. Like I have been using Linux for a long time. I'm a Linux author for a really big blog. So like I like teaching people. If people are ever like, oh, how did you do this or how did you do that? Being able to teach them how I did that or how to do it or whatever, I don't know, it gives me the warm and fuzzies inside, right? So then being able to socialize and hang out and do all of this at once, why not, man? And if I can ever get big enough to have regular viewers and a long-standing community and whatnot, then even better.
Well, all right. That was a great answer.
Yeah, I've always said video games are like better co-op. And literally when you're streaming, you're like always playing co-op with people. You're not literally playing co-op, but like you have the aspects of co-op, So.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. One of my greatest memories of playing video games is a buddy of mine. We don't really talk too much anymore. We live in different cities nowadays, and he doesn't use a computer very often. But this guy I used to know named Dave, we used to spend all night, 12 hours sometimes, just sitting in his bedroom on his bed, playing co-op games, just crushing co-op games together, game after game after game, and just laughing and socializing and just having a great time, And if I can do that with, I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there, but let's just say 500 people all at the same time, dude, that's like a dream come true, man. Like, absolutely.
Awesome, man. Wekizz, you got any questions, brother?
Hey, yeah. I have been also streaming from Linux, and it's a very good experience. I totally agree that he knows way more, as he is full-time Linux streamer. But my question is not exactly about that. I just want to know your origins of your nickname.
Yay, there we go.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Dotslashdrago is a two-part thing. So the / is part of Linux terminal syntax. So if you're trying to run a script, let's just say your script is called MyScript, okay? And you want to run that from a terminal, one of the ways that you can do that is to type /MyScript, and that will launch that script. Okay, so /Drago is like launching me, right? Launching the stream, etc.
Drago's going live. Gotcha.
Right. And then Dragostini has been a name that I've used since I was about 15 or 16 years old. I was a professional Unreal Tournament Game of the Year edition player back in the day, Insagib Capture the Flag specifically. and I went by a different name. I went by the name of Dark Legacy, and I was like, that was my name when I was like 12. I don't know. I don't like it. I think I want to change it. So I was talking to this other guy that I used to game with, and he was like, yo, sometimes when I don't want to play a game and I don't want anybody to know who I am, I change my name to Dragostini, and then no one knows who it is, right? And I just play with that. He's like, you can use that name if you want, man. And I'm like, yeah, but that's you. And he's like, yeah, but nobody knows who Dragostini is. And I'm like, all right, I guess, it's like an incognito name. That's cool. And then I just never gave it back. I just stole the name. Like,
if you're gonna name snatch, you gotta live it, bro. You gotta live it.
That's it. I was like, yo, I am Dragostini now. And no one knew who he was. He barely ever used it anyway, right?
That guy's dead
but then,
to you. You're dead to me.
6 months later, he was like, yo, you're still using Dragostini. I thought it was just going to be like a temporary thing so you could hide out until you figured out a new name. And I'm like, yeah, but I started kicking everybody's ass as Dragostini. So, like, everyone just knows Dragostini. They know my voice. They know this. And he was like, all right, well, I guess you're Dragostini now.
Can't let the legend die. You can't let the legend
all right.
Dragostini
So
die.
That's it. You found a new name in the process.
Exactly. So I
Can
became
snatch
Drago.
Brad Pitt?
Can you snatch? I mean, I think that might be illegal, but...
If Brad Pitt says cool, then I guess, you know.
I thought you were talking about snatching, like kidnapping him.
No, just his name.
Name. Wiki, Wekizz Pitt. No.
Wekizz Pitt?
That's bad.
No, I don't want to be a Brad Pitt anymore.
Yeah.
I originally was streaming under the name Dragostini on Twitch, but I was like, if I'm going to do like the whole Linux streaming and whatnot, I need to make it Linux-centric, right? But /Dragostini just didn't have a nice ring to it. /Drago sounds got a better ring to it, right? It rolls off the tongue a little bit better. So
I like it, yeah.
One more question. I saw your stream starts with loading, yeah?
Yeah, man.
What's before loading? Because maybe I missed something.
So I wonder if I can show you guys. Give me a second here.
You can share your screen.
Yeah, try it.
Oh, look at that.
So this is my starting soon screen, and what this is it's just a terminal and I'm just updating my computer. It looks like it's like hacker code in the background or something, but no, I'm just running a system update. I'm literally just like updating Firefox and stuff like that, right? Via terminal. There's nothing special about this. And then Wekizz here is the one, our little stream wizard is the one who made this logo for me. So, props to you on that one, my friend.
That's a hip logo.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it. So it goes from this, and then it goes into this. And I don't know if the audio will translate properly, but if you ever check out my stream, you'll see the audio. But this is the loading screen that he's made.
Yeah, there should be some melody.
Hey, you need like a sweet beat behind that, bro. A sweet beat.
There is a quite sweet melody there. There is, but we didn't hear it.
Oh, you
you can't.
Sweet beat. Okay.
I don't have it set up right now for
You're fine, brother.
the audio.
We trust in your sweet beatness.
Yeah, you check out the stream or sometime or another, you'll hear the audio.
For sure.
So that's the loading screen that Wekizz is mentioning there.
Awesome.
And I can't actually take full credit for that. That's based off a template that I modified. So
I mean, I think
it would.
Go ahead, Wekizz.
I wanted to finish his starting soon that it would start like you are typing, literally like those sounds, like, and the /Drago goes in, and then when you click enter, it starts into loading screen. That would look really cool. Or you can do that on YouTube as you're starting.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, man. We'll talk. That would be pretty cool.
But it's still very cool. Creative. I love creative.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I think everybody takes a little bit of something that they like. I like to, that's what I do anyways. I take little tidbits of things that I like different streams or this little GIF I found on the internet or this thing or this text or whatever, and I just pull them all out all these little different places, and then I put them into one little place and make them my own. So that's how
it's like a beautiful collage.
Beautiful collage.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think that's how a lot of streamers feel about our streams and our overlays and just our setups as a whole is it gives us the opportunity to flex our nerd muscles a little bit
Express
and
yourself.
our creativity at the same time. And you can put it all together. And then when you get people who join your stream and they really like your stuff, like if somebody's like, oh, I really like your overlay or, you know, whatever, right? Then that you feel good because you're like, yeah, like I put in the work, I put in the effort into that. And these 20 people are feeling that. And like, oh, it feels good, man. You feel it inside.
Yeah, man. Exactly. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of Linux questions. And feel free to answer however you like.
Cage,
yo.
sorry, before I distract you a little bit, can you add everyone that we're live, going live? Because we didn't say anything in Discord.
Of course. Sure.
Maybe someone want to see,
Wait,
but they don't have a notification.
I thought you
That's
already,
our,
I thought you already did.
200.
You already did. It's right
It's our
here.
200 IQ move right there.
I did add, but I mean everyone, but I don't think it works on me because it doesn't even show me the
Okay.
everyone. It doesn't.
got you, bro.
So I remember someone disabled that on this channel.
All
Yeah,
right,
yours
well,
you see it marked. It marks even.
Well, here we go, buddy.
Dun, dun, dun. Final Fantasy.
On my stream for my about and my stream labels in my profile, they're Final Fantasy icons and stuff.
You know what? It might not work in here. It might have been disabled for everybody. So
Yeah,
let's
probably it's disabled
let's
for
just do it
everybody.
and
But
hang-
still, you did what you
out.
could.
Here. Because I did it in the podcast ID saying we were doing it soon, but I'll do it again.
Hey, I think I figured it out.
Nice.
Watch this.
Uh-oh.
So
And he's gone.
Oh, why is it
whoa.
Why is it backwards? That's weird.
Yo, it's only backwards to you.
Backwards
We
for
see
you.
it fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we see it fine.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's just a weird
No.
catch-22, my friend.
Now, why is it? Do you see my camera though?
No,
No, we
we
do not
see
your
what I
camera.
think is your starting soon screen.
No, it's supposed to
Yeah.
have my camera
It
as
says
well.
go something go. I can't see. I can't because
Go
It's
fight.
supposed to go. It's supposed to be go Knights go, but I'm supposed to have my
Go Knights,
camera
go.
overlay there.
Oh.
Maybe you're on top. I mean.
No. Oh no, you switched up.
I have a separate scene specifically for
Oh
this.
no!
Yeah,
I'm
that's what I was trying to
OutlawMyke
throw
now.
together.
Don't worry, I got this.
Wait, what do we have going on here?
Can you cannot move us around? Yeah, you can only move around names.
Yeah, it won't let you move around people in the old Discord, the old Discordini.
Can you see my face?
I might. I think I'm paying
No.
for Zoom. I might.
We don't see your video at all.
Get a.
What happened to my camera?
I don't know, buddy. Whoa. Now Wekizz
Now
is
it should be
gone.
the
Okay,
nice
there we go.
screen again.
No, we still don't see you at all, my friend.
This is crazy. Crazy.
But here's my number.
Well,
I'll be
Call
right
me
back.
maybe.
Hey, listen.
I'm
we're
gonna
working all
disconnect
these
and
things out,
reconnect.
so while he does that, look, Wekizz is the main attraction down there. He's OutlawMyke and Wekizz.
We are.
All right, so
I got the bottom.
while Mike is out, I wanted to ask you, why did you switch to Linux? I'm assuming, were you always a Linux user? If not, what did you use before Linux? And if you did use something before Linux, why'd you switch?
He got
So-
banned on the Microsoft.
So I've pretty much been running a dual boot system. Like when I turn on my computer, I can pick whether I want to use Windows or Linux. And I've been running a dual boot for, I don't know, 10 years, 15 years, something like that. I can't honestly say that I switch 100% to Linux at all times, just because up until fairly recently, there was always some really nasty compatibility issues with some programs and some games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That has changed, I would say, in the past 2 years exponentially. But again, just to use the Oculus as an example, I have to use Oculus in Windows, right? So little things like that have always held me back from a complete change over to Linux. But I do use it, we'll just say 80% of my time in front of my computer. So but I originally wasn't streaming
There we
as a
go.
Linux streamer. I was streaming using Windows, and I was just kind of your regular average variety streamer. You know, I was just playing video games, hanging out, whatever. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't even know, 500,000 average Windows variety streamers out there, right? Like, I don't have exceptional skill in a specific game that is big and popular nowadays. I don't, I'm not like a well-known celebrity from music or movies or something. You know, if you want to make it in this, you need to have some kind of a niche. Is kind of what I was thinking. So originally, I was actually leaning more towards a character stream, kind of like Dr. Disrespect plays a character, right?
Gotcha.
But
Sorry, you need some mustaches, bro.
So I decided that I wasn't sure if I wanted to go character or not, because what if some days I just don't feel like playing character? What if I just want to chill, right? So, and then I was thinking, okay, so what can I use for my niche? Well, I love metal music. I could do a metal music stream, but not everybody likes metal music, right? Like that. And then I was like, and then that doesn't really help me with the whole video game aspect. Music and video games, while they're both forms of entertainment, they don't directly tie into each other. So I was like, what am I going to do for my niche? And then I was like, I'm damn good at Linux. It's part of my career is Linux. So I was, and gaming on Linux, like I said, has over the past couple of years really, really become a lot easier and a lot better performance, etc. So I was like, why not just be a Linux streamer? I'll still use Windows, like Windows Wednesdays and stuff like that, right? But why not focus on Linux? And I can do tutorials and things like that. I already write tutorials and program reviews and application reviews and stuff for this blog. So why not just do the same thing on video, on Twitch? And that was it. I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So, I mean, I do still use Windows. It is still installed on one of my hard drives in my machine. But, I mean, all of the servers in my closet run Linux. I'm in Linux as we speak right now. If you see me on stream and I'm not in virtual reality, I'm on Linux.
You're in Matrix.
You are in the
We're
Matrix.
all in the Matrix, my friend. We're all in the Matrix.
Oh,
But that's it, So Linux is still like 80% of my focus. But it's...
all right. I'm being summoned.
Uh-oh. All right.
Later, Mike.
Interesting.
So
I really like Wednesday Windows, Monday
Windows.
Macintosh, Friday Fedora. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I won't use Fedora. I'm not a big fan of it personally. Mac OS and I are... I don't know. I have issues with Mac. I like Mac. I like Unix. Mac is based off Unix. Well, Mac is Unix. It's a form of Unix. But the way that Apple has closed everything off, it's a walled garden. You can't do anything. You can't customize things. You can't really touch the system. It's, I'm not a fan.
What phone do you have?
I use a Google Pixel 2 XL, which is Android, which is Linux. And technically, since I use a Google phone, it's an unmodified version of Android instead of like if you get like a Samsung or an LG, their versions of Android have been slightly modified to suit their narrative and their needs and their bloatware. Because I use a Google phone, it's pure Android.
The bloatware is real.
With that being said, my contract ends next in October, and I'm going to get a new phone then. So ask me in 2 months. I might not have Google. We'll see.
All right.
Apple.
That's awesome.
I have an iPhone sitting in front of me. All it's used for now is an occasional secondary webcam. That's about all it's good for.
Are you using the Google? That's your main phone, right? The Google phone?
Yeah. I got the Pixel 2 sitting right here.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got an LG V50. I've had Samsungs like pretty much all my life, and I got this LG V50, and I was like hoping, like, please God, don't let it be a piece of junk. And I don't know why I never went to LGs. The only thing I don't like is the keyboard. It makes me look like when I type, I'm talking like a 4-year-old because I can't spell anything right.
So I have the thing that is going to save your life, my friend. to anybody who's using Android phones.
Yeah.
And actually, you can get it on iPhones too, but it's not as good on iPhone, I'll say.
Yeah.
Microsoft bought it and they own it now, which kind of sucks. But there's an application called SwiftKey. SwiftKey is the best keyboard, hands down. Hands down. I've been using
iPhone
it.
have the integrated Swift key, I think they call it.
Yeah, the Samsung keyboard.
Or swipe.
Yeah. So you can swipe.
But,
so SwiftKey is a third-party keyboard that you install. That once you select it, anytime your keyboard pops up, like when you're in your browser or your text messages or whatever, you're typing on SwiftKey now instead of the default Android keyboard. And you can customize the layout, the size, how long button presses take to use the key behind them. You can adjust the level of vibration that happens when you push keys. But the key feature of SwiftKey is actually how it learns. If you give it permission, it will go through your Facebook, it will go through your emails, it will go through your texts, and it will learn how you type and the things that you say. Like, let's say that you have a habit of using word A after word B all the time.
Yeah.
It will learn that. So then as you type, it gets smarter at predicting what you meant to say. And the longer you let it do that and the longer you use it, the easier and easier it gets for it to correct things. I hardly ever make typos anymore. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I make typos all the time, but I hardly ever send typos because SwiftKey saves my ass like 9 out of 10 times, right?
Exactly.
I got big, stubby, clubbed fingers, so like typing on a little cell phone is a pain in the butt for me. But like SwiftKey, you would never know. So to anybody who's using Android, SwiftKey, get it right now. It's free.
Bro, I'm going to download it. Absolutely, because
I can tell you what my swipe key is doing. It learns my mistakes and makes them better.
Makes them better.
Seriously.
It makes you less mistakey.
No, it makes me more mistakey.
Oh yeah, right. Because then you don't.
It upgrades from my
like,
mistakes. It's like, oh, you want to do mistake like that? I have a better solution. Do it like that.
For the iPhone users out there, I will say SwiftKey exists. It's just not as good. It's still better than the iPhone default or the iOS default keyboard, but the Android version just takes the cake. So.
Gotcha. All right. So let's see. What do we got here? What? Oh, you got a question, Wekizz? Go ahead.
Yeah, sit straight. Kung Fu Panda is here. Oh. I mean, Kung Fu Zombie. I like to call him Kung Fu Panda. I don't know what.
Quiet down. Okay.
Sit straight.
Dad's here.
Hello, Kung Fu Panda.
What's up? What's up, Dad? What's up, Discord, Dad? All right. What is the main feature of Linux that you enjoy?
Cage?
Yes.
The chat, Pooty says that they can hear you very quietly.
I still can't hear Cage very well. Well, you know what? I don't really know.
It's good now. Oh, it's good now.
Well, it's because I've got a condenser mic, so if I move and whatnot, my bad. I'll keep it up here. How's this? How's this sound?
Yeah, I feel that, man.
Is this all right, Pooties? Pooties. All right. Thank you. I'm glad you like the follow thing, and you helped do it, Wicket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's ever noticed, I made Wicket made the tumble block, and then I went ahead and made it into an alert where it stops and it has people on the alert. I got to move it around though, because my name was in the way, so I moved my name down so people can see when they follow. So yeah, no, we're working on it. We're getting all kinds of cool little additions, and if anybody, by the way, has any suggestions on the podcast, you're more than welcome to tell us, and we will probably most likely implement them because we can't think of everything. You know what I mean? And we're all a community, and we love everybody, and everybody loves us, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right. What is the main feature of Linux that you enjoy? If you could pick one thing that you love about Linux, what would it be?
That almost everything I use is free, and not because I pirated it. I don't need torrents for half my stuff, unlike when I'm on Windows. But no, the main thing about almost any Linux distribution that you download is that they're going to be free, except for a few of the corporate ones, Red Hat, and a few other things. Then almost everything is free.
Yeah,
there is. You have a great community that will help you with all of these free things. Because with a lot of the free and open source software, you'll get people that are vetting them to make sure that they're safe and secure, that they're not stealing your information. You don't have corporations that are just selling all of your information because you use their video editing program or something.
Gotcha.
You know, it's simple, it's free, it's people think, you know, you have to be this crazy technological guru to use it. You don't. Everything is just nice and easy, and it's made for the people instead of just I don't even know how to explain that. It's just like everything is there in front of you, and you don't have to dig around in a different user manual for every different thing you do. And oh my God, this is all weird, and this doesn't work with this, and blah blah blah. Everything just works, man. And like if it doesn't work,
yeah,
then there is a community that can help you, because there's 10,000 other people using that same free piece of software. So
gotcha.
You don't need tech support.
Wow.
Filing tickets and paying for licenses and none of that crap, man.
All right. Sweet.
Well,
I
I'm
like
back.
I like that answer. Hey, welcome back, OutlawMyke.
Welcome back, Mike. And you got it working.
And it looks great.
I did get it working.
I love it.
Thank you.
Looks wonderful.
Mike came back. I forgot what I wanted to ask. Come on.
Jeez, Mike.
Oh, well, I'm so very sorry.
Goodness gracious.
I gotta say,
Oh,
it's
my
so
anime
tripping me
girls
out.
are also
I
here.
know. I was like, hey,
I have a
Wekizz has got an
question.
anime lady over there. Where'd she come
Yeah.
from? Goodness.
Also follow alerts working
What
here
do you got?
too.
Mike,
We got-
man.
we got
Every
hidden?
time I'm on a call with you or something, it's tripping me out because in real life, my name is Mike.
Oh.
So like people are like, you know, like, oh yeah, Mike, and I'm like, what?
You're
And I'm like, oh yeah, but I'm Drago right now. I'm not Mike. That's Mike.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mike is Drago. Drago is Mike. It is
Mike is
confusing.
right.
And it's funny because I expect people I expected people to just call me Outlaw, but no, people just still call me Mike.
Yeah, of
I don't know.
course. All right.
Oh, look, my green drink is invisible.
What
That's funny.
feature of Linux do you hate? Kind of the flipping it on the opposite side. We said what you love. What feature do you hate about Linux?
That many developers, especially game developers, up until fairly recently, always viewed Linux as like no man's land. You don't build for it. You know, half the freaking developers out there are using Linux when they're developing their software and their games and their programming. But then when it comes time for them to build their binaries and ship their games, they're shipping for Windows. And it's like, come on, man. You can't tell me you didn't use Linux for 40% of that project.
Yep.
And then you want to ship for Linux or for Windows only? Come on. You know, so that's the one thing I'm not a fan of is up until recently. And it's not even like they made changes where they're like, oh, we're going to start building binaries for Linux. We're going to make our games Linux compatible. No, other guys who were smarter than you and big brain decided to make workarounds and compatibility libraries to make your stuff work on Linux because you didn't do it. Right. Like, even to this day, Valve is probably the biggest supporter of making things Linux compatible. And so I'm going to give a big shout out to Valve for that. A lot of their games and their hardware and stuff like that works fine on Linux. They even have an Ubuntu-based distribution, SteamOS. But I mean, most games, you look at Adobe for an example. I have to switch into Windows anytime I want to use Photoshop Creative Cloud, because the last that I know of perfectly working Adobe Photoshop that worked in Linux was CS6, which is like, I don't know, 10 years old, 15 years old or something.
Good Lord.
If I want to use the latest Adobe Creative Cloud version, I got to go into Windows, right? So that's the one big thing is lack of compatibility, because many developers and creators still don't view Linux as a completely viable thing, that they don't see gaming on Linux as a big deal, for an example.
I got you.
And it is.
Well, you know what?
I'm proof of this.
I have noticed too that I'll be when I go to download apps or whatever, you know, like I'll go and okay, I need to get this app for the stream or this app for this or what. I've noticed that I've seen, you know, you used to just see Mac and Windows download applications, but now I've noticed that there's Mac, Windows, and Linux. Like for example, when I went to go download the Droid Cam, it had Mac, Windows, and Linux, and I was like, okay, that's awesome. That it's, you know, because it's free and Windows is not cheap. You know, I mean, I like Windows, but it's not cheap at all. And Windows 8 was,
Windows 8 needs to go the way of Vista and Windows ME.
Windows 8 needs to be.
Well, what
It
is
should be-
Windows 8?
You don't
I
need-
jumping like
You don't need to know about Windows 8. Wekizz.
Yeah,
Trust me.
yeah.
I remember all the hope I had for Windows 8. I had a machine that I ended up getting a beta version of Windows 8, and like it was so beautiful and just so amazing. Just the ideas of what Windows 8 could have been, but then they released it.
Yep. You know where they screwed up is they made it for. They're like, hey, let's make tablet and PC users the same. And
Yep, absolutely.
It's just you can't do that. You cannot.
they
You need
screw
to
up
take-
every second version. I notice.
Yep.
You need to take Windows
Yeah,
ME,
every second.
Windows Vista,
Yeah.
and Windows 8
Seriously.
and put them with the ET Atari game.
What I really
That's
love
it.
I
is
jumped from XP. I jumped from XP straight to Windows 7. I think
Good Lord, how long have you had XP? And you know what? I don't blame you because XP was awesome.
XP was amazing.
awesome. Absolutely.
XP was
Yes.
amazing. I used it as long
One
as I
of the
could.
best Windows ever. Yeah.
Until it was just like you can't use that anymore. You can't even play games.
Mm.
I couldn't even play some of my games, and I was like, "Ah, come on, man, what are you doing to me here?"
I think my first ever computer had Windows ME. I think I remember that one.
I'm sorry for you.
Ew.
It was terrible.
Ew. That was bad experience as a first computer. Seriously.
Yeah, well, you know,
Oh,
it was
man.
it was terrible, just terrible.
All right.
One question is that's to all of you guys, not especially Linux. Is it there's something about money that Windows are not free? They're making money, and that's why they're making games for Windows because Windows are not free, games are not free, and Linux is free. What Linux can make if they're not making money? You know, what are Linux is making money off, and what
Well,
can Linux? You know.
I think it's because Windows and Microsoft is making money. They have, you know, they have the money to advertise the platform. They have the money to be the platform that the game developers need for, you know, their audience, their demographic. Look at the amount of people that play on PC versus the amount of people that play on Linux. PC is most definitely the mainstream, where Linux is the, you know, the underground, if you will. That's generally probably 100% of the reason why they don't distribute to Linux as much as they should. It's all about money, man.
Yeah, most things are, sadly.
I bet you that I'm just going to throw a random number out there, and let's just say 60 or 70% of all Linux gamers would be quite happy to pay the same amount of money for their games that any other user would of any other operating system if the developers would make the games for their system. You know, like you can play most Steam games on Linux nowadays as of about 2018.
Yeah.
Almost every Steam game works on Linux thanks to something called Proton, developed by Valve. But prior to that, you were stuck using hacks and workarounds and whatnot to get your games working. If developers had just released Linux binaries from the very beginning, I bet you Linux gamers would have no problem spending $60 on a game. It's no biggie. I mean, we're saving money by running Linux in the first place. So instead of having to pay for that Windows license, pay for the game. Done.
That is a good question. Dotslashdrago, off topic for a second. What kind of metal music do you like?
Oh man, that's a
Whoa.
loaded question.
This is from Hawkeye88, by the way. We're taking.
Okay.
I'm just randomly taking questions from chat. I told him to.
I'm out.
ask.
This is too heavy for me.
Too heavy.
Okay, Hawkeye. So you asked for it on this one, man.
Uh-oh.
You cracked open a big can of worms here, bud.
Cracked it open.
So I consider myself a musical encyclopedia. I know an insane amount about music, almost to like an OCD or like low level autism. And I don't mean that rudely. I just mean like I'm obsessed with music. Like, and then metal in particular, I have a really big focus on. I was raised on like 80s hair metal and 90s grunge and stuff like that, heavy metal, etc. And as the years went on, I have seen so many different bands. It would probably take me a while to list them all off. I have met most of them. Almost every big band I've ever wanted to meet, I've met. I've got pictures with them. I've got got to shake their hand, etc. And as a result of listening to so much music and so much metal, I have so many different varied tastes. I like everything from technical death metal like Quo Vadis or Death to very melodic operatic metals like old school Nightwish. And I say old school because as far as I'm concerned, Nightwish died when Tarja left the band. I like, Within Temptation, which is like the real metal version of Amy Lee's band.
Yeah, there you go.
Within
Within
Temptation
Temptation is
makes
good.
Evanescence look like Fisher Price.
Agree.
And then I like things like the old school heavy metals. I'm really big into power metal, so bands like Iced Earth, Blind Guardian, Nevermore, Iron Maiden, those kinds of things. I mean, I have playlists on my Spotify categorized by subgenre, and each of those playlists has like, I don't know, 400 or 500 songs, 30, 40, 50 bands each minimum. I couldn't tell you just one that I like. I like all of it, and not just metal. I like all music. I spin trance music as a hobby, so like it's not just limited to metal. But since the question was particularly about metal, I like it all. I think the only thing that I've found in metal that I don't like are pig squeals. I'm not a big fan of the core genres like grindcore, deathcore, metalcore, etc. And that's not to say that I don't like any bands in that genre. I get a big love for Dying Fetus, and they are some of the pioneers of deathcore. But I mean, there's probably only one Job for a Cowboy song on all of my music, for an example, because almost every song is just frickin' pig squeals, right? So that's probably, if I had to pick one thing I didn't like, it would probably be some of the core metal genres.
Gotcha. All right, let me see. Drago, do you
Look, I got
also
you.
get...
I got one.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Drago, do you also get antsy? This is from Kabernst. Do you also get antsy with Linux distro? Like I constantly am installing something new to try.
Yeah, so back when I used to play Unreal Tournament and I was hanging out on IRC all the time, there was this guy who went by the name of Tayrom, and he used to bug the hell out of me about being the biggest distro hopper he had ever met. I would swap Linux distributions. So to people who aren't super Linux friendly, don't know what that means. There's more than one kind of Linux. It's like, how there's like Windows 10 and Windows 8, right? Well, in the Linux world, Linux is free and open source. I can download the Linux system, modify it, change a bunch of stuff, rebrand it, and re-release it back out into the wild as whatever I want to call it. And no one's going to stop me from doing that. So as a result, we've got hundreds of different kinds of Linuxes out there, we could say. We call them Linux distributions, okay? So a distro hopper is someone who is constantly changing Linux distributions. So he used to bust my balls about changing distros like every 2 weeks or so. I was always just trying new ones. Oh, I like this one. Oh, this one's got this feature, and this one's got that feature. But I also break Linux distros like it's going out of style. I have literally found bugs in distributions that the developers fixed 10 years ago. And somehow I managed to pull the bug out of my butt and be like, oh, hey guys, look, I broke it. Right? And they didn't even know how I did it. I didn't even know how I did it. So I will say that I have slowed down on the distro hopping. I mostly use a distribution nowadays called Manjaro. I find it's perfect for my usage. But I mean, I was using Linux Mint a month and a half ago, and that's another distribution. you can take that for what you want. Manjaro is my favorite. I'll probably always come back to Manjaro, but I'm a distro hopper. It is what it is. So
Right now, I know what that means. Before, I would be thinking something totally else.
yeah, that's why I'm trying to give like that little bit of background info, just so the people who don't know, right? If you want to try out Linux, I highly recommend that you start with Linux Mint.
Mint is amazing.
It's based off of another system called Ubuntu, which is the most popular Linux distro. I just don't like Ubuntu. They have some really sneaky, not good stuff in the background. For an example, they have really close connections with Amazon. And sometimes when you're searching for stuff on your PC, you're also sending information to Amazon. And I'm not cool with that.
Yeah,
I don't like
Alexa's listening to me sometimes.
Yeah. I don't like phone homes like that, you know. So Linux Mint is based off Ubuntu.
I like it.
But it's not Ubuntu, and that kind of crap is turned off. So I recommend new people start with Linux Mint. Once you get comfortable in Linux Mint and you're like, oh, I like this. I want to try something else, though. Then go to Manjaro. Manjaro is just as user-friendly as Linux Mint, but
just like beginners
Linux. Mint is, yeah, but Linux Mint is just that little bit extra more beginner-friendly.
I got you.
So I would say start with Linux Mint and then try Manjaro, and then you can get ballsy and try things like Arch and stuff like that. And I'm surprised no one's made a Gen 2 joke yet. There's another distribution called Gen 2. It's known for being the most hardcore. So
Mike and Wekizz, you guys take over for a second. Wife just got home. I'm just going to go check on little baby boy.
Roger. Hey, so that's bringing it away from the Linux and into the streaming as, a parent, as a spouse or whatnot. How do you balance that? Like just earlier I had to dip out and now Cage has to dip out, how do you handle that delicate balance that we have between, family life and stream life?
So I think I'm kind of lucky that I started streaming on Twitch when my kid is older. Like my daughter who lives with me is 12. So she's a lot more self-sufficient than, a 6-month-old would be. And then I have a really super supportive girlfriend who, she's not her biological mom, but she takes care of her like her own child. She loves her to pieces. So that is a really big help as well. And then my schedule is based around my family in a way. So I stream Wednesdays and Thursdays from 6 p.m. Eastern time until midnight, and then Sundays from 2 p.m. Eastern time until 8 p.m. So 6 hours, 3 days a week. And those times are based around my family. Like I work during the day, so does my girlfriend. And then, the kid has school during the day when it's not summertime. And then we have time to eat dinner together. And then I jump on my stream. And my daughter can amuse herself for the night, and girlfriend can amuse herself for the night. If daughter needs something, girlfriend can take care of it, right? And then on Sunday, it's in the middle of the afternoon. Sunday, we have late dinner because it's the weekend. It's not a big deal. It's a little bit more flexible. And on the weekend, kids just kind of doing their own thing anyway, right? So from 2 to 8, I'm not really needed as much. But I mean, my family also knows that they come first. If something ever were to happen and they were like, yo, we need you to come help with this. Well, sorry, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to go AFK. I'm going to go dip, just like, you guys had to do, right? But having a 12-year-old instead of a young kid does really make a huge difference, too. I mean, I remember being 12. I hardly needed my parents for anything at that point, right? So
that makes sense. I can't wait till the days.
Honestly, you say that, but cherish it, man. Cherish the young moments while you can, because as they get older, they become even more of a pain in the ass.
Oh, trust.
I just read on Discord about diapers exploding. Try cherishing that.
I'm tired of Code Browns, man. Code Browns, and it's like now I'm thankful I'm very thankful that we're on the last one. We're not having any more, no more babies. But
Dude, I'm dying at Code Brown.
man, look. Sometimes it's like it takes two. It's like a 2-party Code Brown, and that's like it's a diaper bomb, we call them. Those are the worst. Like you just gotta take the kid. You just gotta take the kid, throw the clothes like straight in like in the sink with some bleach, and like put the kid in the tub and hose it down. Like it's done. All right. So like we're transitioning into like the baby food, and we're transitioning out of the formula, and she's teething, and she's just at that point where her digestive system is working a little bit better. So diaper bombs and Code Browns are they're getting interesting.
It doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier. In a way, you've got it best right now, because even though you've got diaper bombs and Code Browns, and all the messy things are happening and stuff right now, your kid doesn't talk back to you. Your kid doesn't lie to you. Your kid doesn't throw temper tantrums and break things and hit things. Or I'm not necessarily saying my kid does either, but I'm just saying, like, as a parent, as they get older and they get more independence and they get more ego and things like that, it doesn't get any easier, my friend. Like, in a way, you've kind of got it good right now.
This one's the third one. So I have Ivy Gwen is the baby. She's 8 months. Harley Quinn is 3 years old, and Zoe Lynn is almost 5 years old.
Yo, 2 out of 3 are named after Batman characters. That is amazing.
Batman Villainous is at that, and Harley Quinn is already her namesake. So I'm afraid to see what Ivy is going to turn out to be.
That's awesome, dude. Now,
like,
I can say my one daughter, people think she's named after the comic book character, but she's not. There's a whole other story to it. But my daughter who lives with me, her name is Storm. So I mean,
nice.
It still kind of fits in, with the nerd thing, even though that wasn't the actual reason. But
well, I got away with Harley Quinn because even before, and it's like it's unfortunate that Harley was born in 2017 after Suicide Squad came out, because she wasn't born after the movie Suicide Squad. She was born after Batman the Animated Series, the original Harley Quinn,
which is the good one.
Yeah, which is I don't mind the Suicide Squad movies, and I don't mind the new 52 Harley Quinn at all whatsoever. But the original inspiration came from Batman the Animated Series, which is what I grew up on.
Me too, brother. Me too. I used to watch it all the time.
And it's not necessarily the less slutty version, but it's the laughing fish version. It's the Harley Quinn that got closer to defeating Batman than Joker ever did. It's the Harley Quinn that was the brains of the outfit without anyone else ever knowing.
One thing I always loved about Batman the Animated Series is Mark Hamill as Joker.
Dude.
And
I mean, like, it brings chills, doesn't it?
Yeah, dude. And when he reprised his role as the Joker in the Batman Arkham games, I lost my marbles. I fangirled like crazy when I first pulled up Batman Arkham Asylum and I heard his voice and I heard that laugh. I was like, oh my God, yes.
Look, I mean, I have just sitting right behind me The Killing Joke in hardback.
I got one for you.
Guys, you're going very cheap with those names. Name your kids Google. You can get Google Stadia.
Dude,
this is on my wall.
Dude, nice. I have down here. I have the entire run of Kevin Smith's Batman 66 meets the Green Hornet, and number 1 is signed by Kevin Smith and Ralph Garman. I'm a bit of a Batman fan. I don't know.
Me too, dude. So normally when I'm streaming, I wear one of 2 hats. I dug this one out in particular just for Cage today because we're both big Star Wars fans. But normally on my stream, you'll see me wearing a Batman hat or a Legend of Zelda hat, and
nice.
I've got multiple Batman T-shirts and stuff. Like,
nice.
I just have this one next to me. I'm planning to play one day, but I don't know when it will come. That's all.
Look, the green's getting kicked out. My nanny does artwork for like Christmas gifts and stuff. And like she made this little piece for me.
That's pretty cool.
It's got a bunch of panels. It's like it says, "Oh, your mom's name is Martha too." Instant besties, Martha. But like, dude, Batman is just Batman is Batman always wins. Even when Batman loses, he wins. Just like I have it down there in The Dark Knight Rises.
Yep.
I can easily guess the name if you would have the son easily.
Actually,
Bruce.
actually, you guys are gonna love this. If Ivy would have been a boy, his name would have been Captain Brian George Michael. Epic. Commanding. Oh, Captain, my
pretty
Captain.
Too long.
Welcome back, Cage. Welcome back, brother.
Hey yo, how's
Damien.
So how's
Yeah,
it going?
Damien. There you go.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay, so one more question before I'll let Cage take it back over. Favorite Star Wars Force user?
Qui-Gon Jinn. I don't even have to think about that.
Good question.
Ooh, good
I-
answer.
I know almost everything there is to know about the Star Wars universe, and Qui-Gon Jinn, hands down.
So I just
He's my favorite.
listened to the Dooku book, and I learned a little bit about Qui-Gon through the Dooku book, and yeah, I can see that's a great answer.
Especially with Liam Neeson, I've always loved as an actor, and then to see him portray Qui-Gon, I think was just spot on, perfect. I think he was Qui-Gon. He was the embodiment of Qui-Gon in that movie, man. Like, oh, love it.
So why Qui-Gon?
Hey, that was
He
the
was-
second question.
Oh, it's a
Yeah, you're right.
follow-up.
You're right.
It's good.
I'll
Well,
just
finish.
I can give it to you really quick anyway, because he was, in my opinion, the greatest representation of a true gray Jedi. They don't really talk about it in the movies very much. They don't mention gray Jedi or anything like that. But Qui-Gon did what he wanted to do, but he always stayed on the right side, the right path. But he didn't deny that there was other benefits to the Force that the Jedi Masters at the Temple never utilized. He didn't just follow blindly. He did what he felt was best, and he always made the right choices, but the right choices weren't always what the Jedi Council would have done. And he was perfect for being right in the middle. He was amazing.
I feel like he gets that he got that from Dooku a lot, and I feel like if Dooku's fall to the dark side was just purely from the Jedi's political stances. Like if it would have been like different circumstances, he probably wouldn't have ended up falling to the dark side. I feel like he could have ended up in the same gray area as Qui-Gon without actually falling all the way down.
Not full Sith, but gray.
I don't think he ever went full Sith. He died before he could finish the Sith training,
No.
I believe.
Well, I'm sorry.
But he just went to the dark side.
My bad.
I know he was training under Sidious at the end, but I don't know enough about Dooku to know. But
Yeah.
in my opinion, if you start rocking a red color saber,
yeah, you're
and
right.
you start casting Force lightning, those two things put together, you're a
Yeah,
Sith now, man. You're a Sith.
Well,
now.
you see, Dooku had the ability to cast the Force lightning before he was ever went to the dark side. When he was young, he could do that.
Right, but I mean,
He had a
it's that
natural
in
attunement.
conjunction with the red crystal.
Yeah.
Right, like that red crystal has a significant impact in your representation.
Because his lightsaber color was not that color.
He bled the Kyber crystal. Yeah,
and
that's how the Sith turn the lightsabers red, is by bleeding the Kyber crystal.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a conscious effort. That's a conscious choice that you make. Right, so when you make that, you're drawing the line in the sand, and you're saying, "This is where I stand."
Yeah,
He was a Sith.
I think the only reason, I'm not 100% sure on it, but I think the main reason he didn't take a Sith name like Darth something is because if he would have like lost his because he was rich.
Well, no, what it is he was the Count by birth when his brother got killed.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because his father, the Jedi came and got him as a baby, but his father was the Count, and his father was the Count, and they didn't want nothing to do with him, and he ended up, didn't he kill? He might have killed. I think he killed his own brother. As a matter of fact, I think he did kill his brother in the end because his brother was trying to destroy the planet or something.
I don't really want to distract you guys, but I think we're going a little bit off topic. Sorry.
Yeah, let's bring it back. Let's bring
nothing
it back.
against Star Wars, but I need to tell you two things. First is, if I will be in Drago's position and you will start Star Waring me with the questions, this show will die earlier than it will start. And the next question, I will bring it back to the topic, okay? So, Drago, I noticed you have tattoos, but I didn't read on Discord about it. And I also noticed you have piercings. We don't want to see the intrigue parts. Just tell us about your tattoos and piercings.
So I got some tattoos when I was a teenager that I can't stand. I'm not going to show them on stream willingly. They're not like, anything racist or anything like that, but we could just say they're choices of a young teenage Drago that I would like to get covered up at some point or another. I just can't afford to. So just a really, really quick background about me. I'm not going to give you my whole life story. We'll be here all day. But I was a street kid in my teenage years. I was on and off homeless for 4 or 5 years. I live in southwestern Ontario, Canada, where it gets cold as hell. And I mean, I know what it's like to sleep in alleyways at minus 30 degrees Celsius. And then during that time period, I was also doing a lot of drugs. I had we could just say some pretty out there beliefs about the world. And I delved into the occult and spirituality on some different levels and stuff like that. And I just made all kinds of choices that I don't even want to say I regret, because they're all things that kind of made me who I am. But when you decide to get tattoos, you really should think about where you're going to put them and about what those tattoos mean. And if you're going to get tattoos that you're not going to be proud of in 15 years, you probably shouldn't put them on the backs of your hands. I did. And so I can't change them now. I can't go back, right? But just know that if I had the $1,500 per cover up, I would absolutely be covering these bad boys up anytime soon. But goals, right? And live and learn. And then the piercing. So I used to have my lip pierced here and my labret pierced in the middle. I took those out as I got a little bit older, but I've had my tongue pierced since I was 16 years old. I'm 31 now. And I sometimes debate whether I want to take them out or not, or take it out or not. I took out my other piercings, but I just haven't been able to let it go yet. It does cause me a little bit of a lisp when I speak. I'm a professionally trained journalist. Well, I don't work as a journalist right now, but I studied journalism in school. And we actually had a class that we had to take in one semester where it was all about speaking. It was we would be given very complicated scripts that we would have to read into a microphone and record it, and then submit those recordings into the professor. I actually got, I think it was either 97 or 100. I don't remember. It might even have been 100. But I mean, I got like an exceptional grade on it. And the little trick to it was I took out my tongue piercing before I did every recording, because I can't properly enunciate some letters with the tongue piercing. I have a very small mouth, and I'm tongue-tied as well. So that, in conjunction with having a ball on my tongue and whatnot, I get kind of a lisp, and it's annoying as hell.
So you were trained harding, yeah, with that piercing like that.
Yeah, a little bit, man. You'll hear it every once in a while when I say certain letters and stuff, like right now, like when I say S's and stuff like that, right? So I do debate once in a while on taking it out, just because I do spend a lot of time on stream and talking and stuff like that now, and it drives me nuts. But I mean, I've had it since I was 16. I love it. I don't know. I haven't been able to give up the ghost on that one yet.
Sometimes you just
Also,
gotta stick to your guns,
thank
man.
you for sharing your stories. Not everybody would like to share some stories.
I'll tell you what,
especially
I had a bunch of piercings before as well. I had labret, lip, tongue, eyebrow twice. My ears were pierced, and I think I was trying to get the back of my neck pierced at one point, but it didn't happen. But I don't have any now.
That'd be a pretty
I don't
cool
have any
surface
now. I took them all out.
My eldest daughter's mom, she has a surface piercing right here, and she's got another one on the back of her wrist.
That's interesting.
And it's really cool. Like
reminds me of those piercings women will get in their backs, you know? Like it's like the
corset piercings.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I once pierced my hand on accident with
that's a conversation for not on a Parents of Stream Twitch thing, man. I love those things.
Speaking of corsets, do you think Linux will ever have its own brand of PCs, laptops, or tablets?
They already kind of do.
Do they really?
So so not Linux in particular. Okay, so here's a really quick thing. Linux, there's a misconception that it's not a misconception. A clarification on terms. So Linux, if you want to get really technical, is not what you're running when you click around at things. Linux is the kernel. The operating system is called GNU or GNU. The super technical term. Now, most people just cut it down and they just call it Linux, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted to be like super anal about what it's called, it would technically be called GNU/Linux, because GNU is the operating system, Linux is the kernel. So with that said, when we say do you think that Linux will get its own computer parts and whatnot, or like its own laptops and whatever?
Yeah, Microsoft Surface.
It can't really work that way because Linux is the kernel, right? And then there's all kinds of different Linux distributions too, right? So it's not like it's just one centralized thing like Windows or Mac. But with that being said, with the technicalities aside, there are numerous companies out there. I can't name one off the top of my head, to be honest with you, but I know that there are numerous ones out there that build, ship, and sell computers that come preloaded with Linux instead of...
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at, like something that's going to come preloaded.
Yeah, there are companies that do that already. They're obviously not that well known. I don't think anybody out of the four or the three of you guys can even name one, right? So, and again, I'm the Linux guy, and I can't even name one to you right now off the top of my head. So, I mean, that says something.
Right.
But at the very least, I can tell you they do exist. They are out there. You do a 5-second Google search, you'll find them.
Gotcha. All right, on to the next one.
There we go. Here, Import Anti-Gravity just called the one that it was in my head and I couldn't get the name of it. System 76.
There you go.
If I were going to recommend one, it would be these guys.
Oh yeah, Mr. Wekizz saying Dell has some. That's pretty cool. Dell's that's a big company, big name company. So.
Yep.
When I was buying my first computers back, I don't know, 15 years, maybe more, I was always buying them with pre-installed Linux, because then I don't need to pay for OS. Then I just download the cracked version and I use the cracked version. Saving $100. I'm from Lithuania, guys. I was a bad boy.
Your name
also.
should be OutlawMyke.
Bad boys, OutlawWekizz.
Yeah.
Another outlaw.
Oh, well.
Speaking of because we are streamers, so this is kind of like an obvious question. Can games play at a higher capacity? I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this. Do they use up less resources? Do they play at a higher capacity when you are using them in Linux? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get you. And I got a twofold answer for you.
Oh, okay.
So if it's a Linux native game, and what I mean by that is where I'm not having to use a compatibility layer to run it, like Proton or Wine or Lutris or anything like that. But just something that was built with an existing Linux binary. I would say yes, it runs better on Linux than it does on Windows, probably 7 out of 10 times. Linux is known for management of system resources better than Windows. Just by default, Linux handles memory better. So your hardware will go further in that regards. But then the other side of the coin is if we're using compatibility layers like Wine, Proton, Lutris, et cetera, no would be my general answer, but even that's not actually accurate. I have found some games that I run through compatibility layers that do run better. It truly is hit or miss, but I would say that generally speaking, no, but you are absolutely going to find some exceptions to that rule, and that's just simply because of how Linux, the kernel, handles processes, how it handles memory management, how it handles CPU load, etc. is just exponentially better than the Windows NT kernel does. It's the Windows NT kernel and kernels based off of it are, a Honda Civic, and the Linux kernel is a Ferrari. The problem is that with the Ferrari comes very specialized parts, specialized tools, specialized skill sets. Right. Whereas the Honda Civic is super flexible. You can put parts from other cars into it. Parts are a dime a dozen, etc. Right. It's cheap, etc. Exactly. So the other big catch is very recently, I can see somebody in the chat, Mr. Wekizz, kind of reading my mind on this one. With Vulkan, a technology that came out a few years back, Linux exponentially got better performance as well. There are things now that can translate Vulkan to, like, we can run Vulkan-based games in Linux almost completely fluidly without any kind of a hiccup or anything. And I find that the Vulkan performance in Linux sometimes can outdo DirectX by far. So, like, you might be running a game in DirectX mode in Windows, and I might be running the same game in Vulkan mode in Linux, and I'm going to crush you performance-wise. But the catch to that is, if you switch over to Vulkan in your in your Windows system, then there is a chance that you'll probably end up beating me at that point, just due to better compatibility.
Gotcha.
But so it is kind of hit or miss. But
all right,
I can say from my experience, I tried Linux as a streaming PC next to my gaming Windows PC. That's what probably Drago would do or doing already. Are you streaming with dual PCs or not?
No. So I stream from a single PC, or so sometimes I'll use console. If you see me playing a PS4 game, like Ghost of Tsushima, for an example, I, instead of using a capture card, I use a Linux created open source remote play client called Chiaki, and then I record that on my Linux single PC through OBS, just like you would anything else. I don't use a dual PC setup.
But either way, I assume you noticed that streaming on Linux takes way less resources than on Windows.
Yeah, there's less
but
though, right? Is that
but streaming on Linux also runs into other hiccups too. A lot of the plugins that you guys might use on Windows in your OBS are not compatible with Linux. We do have some alternatives, but not all of them have alternatives. A lot of the third-party tools that you guys might use, like I have Streamlabs, for an example, but most of the other Streamlabs stuff, like Streamlabs OBS, even though I prefer OBS Studio, if I wanted to use slobs, I couldn't. It doesn't exist. Stream Elements doesn't exist. A lot of the stuff that you guys might use, I either have to find an alternative for, or I just simply can't use it.
Yeah, that sounds like a major
hello.
There is that little bit of a gotta jump through the hoops.
I got one.
Kids attack.
Oh, hi.
Hashtag kid attack. I got one more question for you.
Hashtag kids attack. One more question. Come
One
on,
more
Harlan.
question. All right. If you had like a pitch, like let's say you're pitching Linux, right, to someone who doesn't know anything about it, completely, they've been on Windows their whole life, they've been on Mac OS their whole life, right? What would you say to them to try to convince them to switch over to Linux? Like, obviously, I'm not trying to get you to do like some kind of religious spiel type thing, but like if you were like, a buddy was like, hey man, I'm really starting to hate Windows. What should I do? And you're like, Entry. Drago.
So I would tell them Linux is free in most scenarios. Gaming is almost completely as viable as Windows, with some caveats, as we previously discussed. I would say that with Linux, I don't have to worry about your typical viruses. That's not to say that there's no such thing as a Linux virus.
That's pretty nice.
But if I don't have an antivirus software installed, I don't need one.
Gotcha.
If I were to download one of your Windows viruses, it doesn't matter how badass that virus is, how brutal it might destroy your computer. It's probably going to try to infect your C/Windows folder. Well, first off, I don't have a C drive. That C drive doesn't even exist, so it stops right there. Secondly, even if I had a C drive, there sure as heck ain't a Windows folder.
Right.
So, I mean, most viruses just right off the hop are null and void.
So
right there.
what you're trying to say, if you get a call with the Indian dialect that says, your PC is in a problem, you need to go to this webpage and click that and that.
Yeah.
I love when they call me. I love when fake Windows or fake Microsoft agents call me, and they're like, "We found a problem with your Windows, and we need to fix this with you." And I say, "Oh yeah, okay. So walk me through this." And then they're like, "Okay, click your start menu," and I'm like, "I don't have one."
They're like, right there.
They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "I have a kicker menu that shows me all of my applications. Do you want me to click that?" And they're like, "Yeah, click that." And I'm like, "Okay, I clicked it." Like, okay, now go to control panel. I don't have that.
And then they ask, what's your bottom from the left second key on keyboard?
Yeah, you must.
What does it show?
He must
I have a meta.
Is that a Windows?
So bad, dude. You must frustrate
right?
so bad.
Oh, dude, I love it. But no, I would tell people, to summarize, it's free. Most distributions, at least.
I think
free, simple. You get almost all of your applications from an app store instead of having to go to like 10,000 different websites and download them and install them. Make sure you got the right version, blah, blah, blah. You just open your app center. You search for what you want. You install it. Done. All of your updates are all done through that same app center, et cetera, et cetera. Gaming is still viable. Often games perform better as long as they are built with the right libraries. My general performance runs better. Like, I can almost guarantee you, when I open a browser and I click around and I then open Spotify and blah, 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 it's going to happen faster than it will on your Windows PC, right? It's safer. It's kid-friendly in that regard. I'm far less worried about my kid downloading crapware on a Linux computer than I am on a Windows.
Yeah, that's a
there's even kid-friendly distributions that you can install on a kid computer.
Oh.
Right? Like
Ubuntu or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I've never heard of a Windows 10 child edition or whatever, like, sure, there's the educational version, but that's just like enterprise edition, basically. And then for developers, if the person is a developer, I'm going to tell them 80% of everything you've ever seen built on a computer was probably originally scripted from a Linux system. Right? Like, we've got the best developmental tools, hands down. The only exception is DirectX libraries, which is specific to gaming, right? So I would just tell them Linux will do everything you want it to do faster, with less maintenance. It'll last you longer. It uses less resources. Even if you've got a really old PC that was from the Windows XP days, I can list you 5 Linux distributions right now that'll run smooth as butter.
See, that's cool, because sometimes
can't do that with Windows.
Yeah, no, you can't, and that's cool because you might have an old PC that's not awful, and you want to give it to your kid or something, and like safe for the internet, but like you've got Windows 98 or something on it, man. And
I got a PC sitting in my closet right now. I haven't used it for a little while. I haven't had a need, but it's an original Centrino dual core, one of the first dual cores that came out. Okay. It's got it's got 512 megabytes of RAM. It doesn't even have a gig of RAM, and it's got a 20 gig hard drive. It runs a Linux operating system, and it runs smooth.
Nice.
It's not slow. It's not anything. You turn it on, you click around, you do what you got to do. Now, with that being said, there's some limitations. It can't run Firefox or Chrome. Right, 512 megabytes of RAM is barely even enough to boot those programs.
True. Yeah.
But I mean, as long as I use certain software that is designed for low impact, it's fine. And it's not it's not like Windows XP where it's not getting security patches anymore.
All right. Awesome. I think you've answered all my questions. Mike, by the way, what nights are you talking about? This question from chat.
The Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay.
Golden Knights.
Okay, that's right. Golden Knights. Girls, can we say go Knights go?
Go Knights go.
That's right.
Nice, nice.
That's cute.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Drago, dude. You mean Mike
Remember,
or
I was
Wekizz, do
trying
you have any
to
questions
Mm,
you can think of?
if I had, I probably forgot or it was answered on the go.
Gotcha, brother. Mike, you good, man?
Yeah, man, we're good.
Awesome.
What about anybody in the chat?
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep an eye over
I've been
there.
trying to.
but,
Yeah, dude. Does anybody
if
in the
there's anything
chat
we missed.
ask anything? Well, not anything, but you know what I'm saying.
Ask me anything.
Ask me anything. Ask us anything. All of us. Any of us.
Yo, for real, there's almost no question I won't answer.
You see, there's kids on the show, so keep
Yeah,
it
That's why I was saying, like, ask anything within reason.
within
I need to
that
point out
age.
for Julio that Count Dooku did have a Sith name.
It
His
was
name
Darth-
was Darth Tyrannus.
It was. I forgot about that. I feel
Oh my God! Back
horrible.
to Star Wars.
Yeah. Listen, it always
Next
comes back
time
to
I'm
Star
bringing
Wars, all right?
lightsabers in my overlay
You
just
should.
for fun.
Do it. Do it.
Question for Wekizz from Julio GX. What's it like being the Messiah?
I'm just clickbaiting
the
with my
Wizard
overlay,
Messiah.
all the clicks. But I can show one more trick if you want, guys.
Do it. Let's end the show with a
Let's
a
see it,
bang.
So, as I'm a wizard, yeah, I can be anywhere I want, right?
Right. Port spells. Yeah,
Here?
that's
No?
right. Now you're underwater.
Yes. Guess where I'm now?
Oh, that's cool. You're in New York
This
City.
one is cool, right?
Are you in New York City?
Maybe I had to pick this one instead.
That's kind of sweet, man. I have to admit.
I like that.
I think you need to come up with a new one every
That is pretty cool.
podcast.
Damn, I just showed 3 ones. So how can I come up with a new one?
Okay, so you use the marble one next time, and then
Yeah.
so that way you have 2 weeks to come up with a new one.
Okay, so I can use the marble still. Yeah, good.
Right, but
I'll use
but
the marble one.
you've set people up for greatness, so now they're going to expect you to always have a crazy filter. That's why
I need to
that's
prepare
why I
a
went
mini
with
game
this.
also.
So people don't expect anything; they just expect bunk bed Star Wars. That's it. Their
At
expectations
least you know
are very
something
low,
about
you
Star
know?
Wars.
I know.
I know who's Chewbacca.
That's all. I mean, that's all that matters.
Is it good that I know who's Chewbacca?
It is. He's a great character, and you know what a Jedi is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Wait. Be careful. I told
I'm
you
not
about
confident
Star
with
Wars.
that answer.
We're gonna have to teach Wiki some Star Wars, Drago, man. I guess we're just gonna have to.
Dude, we'll just sit them down. We'll marathon the movies.
I've seen all the movies. Don't worry. I've seen
All
it.
of them? Like 1 through 9?
Yeah.
Dude,
Then you should know what a Jedi is.
come on,
Look,
Wikis.
I'm just watching. I kind of watching that movie like only the effects.
You were
I
falling
don't
asleep.
really go deep into the story.
I know what happened. He
Well-
was putting it on, meaning to watch it, and the kids wore him out, and he fell asleep in the middle of it. That's what happened, because that's what happens. To me
Almost like
sometimes.
that. But when Chewbacca comes, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this guy. This dude is amazing.
Oh, man, that's great.
man. All right, well, Drago, thank you for being on and answering our questions in rapid fire succession, and for being awesome and being part of our community, man. And Wekizz and Mike, thank you guys for joining.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you guys will be here next week, and we'll let you guys at chat and POT fellow community members know what we're gonna do. I don't know exactly who we're going to have on next week, but maybe it'll be one of you guys. If you want to be on the podcast, then send me or Wekizz a message and let us know, and we'll get you on and tell us what you want to talk about.
There you go.
But we love you guys, and the community is awesome, and I can't stress enough how awesome everybody in the community is, and just how great this is gonna. I think this is gonna be, and you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. How awesome this community is just gonna be, man. So
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate
thank you
you
for
having
your
me on here.
time.
It's
I
good.
really appreciate it, Drago. Thank you.
Nice
buddy.
having you here. Nice having everybody here.
Wow, yeah.
POT podcast signing off, guys.
Hey, wave
Cheers,
bye,
everybody.
girls.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being here, by the way.